So what is shadow work? So the shadow is that part of us that we suppress, that we don't want to come to the surface, that we don't want to necessarily share with others, and for others to know what our shadow side is. The reason that we suppress it is because, it's something that's been ingrained in us from when we're a child, that behaving in a certain way is wrong, or showing certain behaviors is wrong. So often our shadow side is something that has been suppressed from when we were younger, okay? These shadow traits come up. It might be something to do with, say, suppressing anger, suppressing jealousy, suppressing... So the shadow traits can be things such as anger, jealousy, impatience, or sexuality, various things like that, okay? Now, when we suppress them, at some point, they're going to want to come up and they're going to want to come out. Now, the best thing for me to be able to explain it the best way is through my experience. So the very first time I came across this, and I've mentioned this before, I've got another YouTube video with the lady who triggered this. Basically, a lady came to me to learn Reiki. So we spent the day together, and the following day, oh my God, I felt so heavy, okay? I didn't want to get out of bed. I just wanted to cry. I literally just kept crying at the drop of a hat. So one of my friends was like, oh my God, Lindsay, what's going on? I was like, I don't know, I just want to cry. And about a week later, I happened to mention it to this lady, and I just said, what? I says, I felt really awful after you left, you know. I said I felt heavy and just tired and just wanted to cry. And she said, oh yeah, she said, I sometimes do that in people. I said, what do you mean? And she said, I sometimes trigger their shadow to come up. And I was like, oh my God, I wish I'd known, because then, you know, I could have prepared for it and could be aware of what it was that was going on. So I started doing a bit of reading into the shadow, and at the time I had real pain in my shoulder, and I'd been to see an osteopath, and she said it was to do with the liver. And when I looked into it in Chinese medicine, the liver is where we hold a lot of anger, okay? Now, I also had a soul plan reading done with a lady called Jude Robinson, who's awesome. And in my soul plan, there was this word anger. And she did this for me about 2 years ago. And I remember thinking, I'm not angry. I don't hold any anger. Ego talking. And then after this first incidence of the shadow, I was like, I started looking into it, and I was like, what does this shadow mean? What is it that I'm not looking at within myself? What is it that I am suppressing that needs to be released? So I did a couple of meditations and did a bit of work. And then we spoke again about 6 months later via Zoom. We had a Zoom call together. And the same thing happened again. I just had this heaviness after talking to her. But this time I was prepared. I was like, right, I know what it is. There's some shadow work that I need to do. What is it that I'm not allowing myself to do? Do you know what I mean? So I was doing some journaling. So I was doing a lot of writing. And I was asking myself, right, what is coming up for me right now? And again, there was a lot of stuff coming up around anger. And I was definitely just doing a lot of writing, do you know what I mean, at the time, to find out where this came from. So when we do shadow work, it's not always like, right, you do it once and that's it, it's gone. Yeah. What I found is that the more, and I found this all the way through my journey, the more that you do work on yourself and peel back the layers of yourself, you uncover more. And allowing yourself to sort of embrace your shadow side can really help bring some sort of like little nuggets out. So another term or concept that you might not have heard of is the word triggers. So if somebody triggers you, it means that person is provoking a reaction or a response within you that feels uncomfortable. So you might feel anger towards this person. You might not feel as if you can say what you want to say to someone for fear of rejection or for fear of, I don't know, speaking their truth. Yeah. So when other people, and especially at this moment in time, you know, we've been in lockdown and being in quarantine, when you're seeing people doing stuff around you, yeah, and if it's bringing up feelings for you that you're trying to suppress, acknowledge them and ask yourself, why is it this is provoking such a strong reaction within me? Yeah. So, for example, there's been quite a lot of stuff in social media around people who are not adhering to the 2-meter rules and to this and that, etc. So why is that making you feel angry? Yeah. Is it because they're not listening to the rules and you always listen to the rules? Is it because it's a story? Really just sort of like investigate and meditate and look into the reasons why you are feeling a certain way towards others. And there's other stuff as well on social media around vaccinations that's provoking a lot of feeling for people. But if you go beyond the surface and start asking yourself, actually, why am I getting so annoyed at this person for saying this? Or why am I feeling such rage? Or why am I feeling jealousy towards this person? Yeah. And really start going beyond the surface. It's not always about, the topic itself. It's not always about, are you pro or anti-vaccination? Are you pro or anti-Boris or whatever? Do you know what I mean? It's not always about that. It's about the feelings that are being triggered within you that need to come to the surface to rise. So, like I said, especially this week, there's been a lot of heavy energies, and you may feel like fatigue. You might feel like you can't get out of bed. You might feel as if your body is just so heavy. And what that is because there is stuff within you energetically, yeah, from your past, which is trying to come up, and it's like it wants to break free and it wants to be allowed to be released. But if we're not acknowledging it and not allowing it to come into our conscious and allowing ourselves to ask like really deep questions and saying, why am I feeling this way? Yeah. And because what happens when we start to work with the shadow, it can be painful, yeah, and it can hurt because excuse me, you're potentially accessing memories which you have suppressed and which you have hidden for a long time, okay? And the reason you've suppressed and hidden them is because you were told as a kid that it wasn't okay to feel that way. So there are different ways that we can actually embrace this shadow side. So like I said, for example, for me, anger is part of my shadow. But on the flip side of that, you always look at the polarity. It's like, what can come from that, yeah? And if I can channel it in a positive way, what does that look like? So for myself, that anger becomes like passion, yeah? So I become, if someone really irks me and I get really annoyed, then what I find is I become really passionate about something. And I'm like I'll either like type furiously on my keyboard, I'll do a Facebook Live. And for me, that's channeling it positively, because rather than directing that anger and just feeling anger towards that person and wanting to lash out or wanting to verbally say something, instead I'm like, okay, what is that triggering within me? Okay, what is it that I need to know about myself that person is creating? And then I can create something positive from it. So it comes to the surface to be transmuted and to be healed, to create something positive for you going forward. And also what it does is it creates a space within you for light to come in. So if you think your shadow is the darkness, yeah, or a darker side, or whatever you want to call it, then it's only as it comes to the surface can light be shed onto it. I hope that makes sense about that. So there are different ways that you can work with your shadow. So you can meditate on it. Yeah. So if you're feeling, and you know what it is, right? This is one phrase that, again, it really irks me. But I think it's because I know that I need to do it. So people often say to me, if I say I'm feeling the same way, that I just sit with it. I'm like, I don't want to just sit with it. I feel like I need to do something else. So if you can't sit with it, then do so. But if you feel that you need a more physical outlet for whatever is coming up, whether it's like shadow boxing or kickboxing or martial arts or running or whatever, dancing, yeah, do whatever feels right for you to release it, yeah, in your way. It might be art, it might be dancing, yeah, whatever it is, like ask yourself, which way do I need to release this? So if just sitting within meditating doesn't feel right, then don't do it. Do something that's more physical to just channel it and let it go and let it be released. You can write. So you can write down what you're feeling and asking, you know, why is this person triggering me? Why am I getting annoyed with this person? Why do I feel this way towards this person? Ask upstairs and just start writing. And because you know that when you write on paper, yeah, and you're writing down your feelings, it's a safe space. There's like no one judging you for what you're writing. So you can write exactly what you are feeling with no judgment. Okay. What was the other thing? Oh yeah, so the other thing that you can do around this as well is just going back to the fact that, you know, your shadow comes generally from when you're a kid. Doing some inner child healing is really helpful. So I did a video with Kirsty Marie Elliott on my YouTube channel about this and talked about inner child healing. And I've done it for myself several times. And it's funny because I listened to an inner child meditation last night as I was going to bed. And I woke up definitely feeling lighter, and I thought, I feel like I need to do it again. So I did it again for myself this morning. And I asked my inner child, I was like, what do you want to do first today? And I got told to dance. And I was like, really? So I went on YouTube, and there's a brilliant chakra dance. I'll put it in the comments. But I did a chakra dance, and then I drew something. And I feel as if I really tended my inner child first before, you know, I came into sort of like the world and doing my adulty bits. So going back to sort of like your inner child work, you know, you can go back, you can give yourself a hug as a child, you know, telling yourself that it's safe to be you. Another way that this shadow can present itself as well, which I find a lot, is through the throat chakra. So when we're not able to speak our truth or be our true selves, it can really impact on this area. You might not be able to feel like you can say what you want to say or say what you want to do, etc. So just have that awareness as well that it can impact who your soul is and who you really truly are in your heart, because you've put up all these potential sort of this stuff. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I'm going into something else now. But yeah, so with your shadow, yeah, it's about having that awareness of what needs to be addressed, how other people are triggering your responses and reactions. So rather than lashing out, like I said, and, you know, getting annoyed at someone else or getting angry at someone else, it's more looking within yourself. What is it that you need to look at? Yeah. Okay, let me just see if there's anything else I needed to say. No. Okay. So just have that awareness within yourself. Start to ask some questions of yourself. So if you're judging anyone else, if someone or something is triggering you, then ask upstairs and just, you know, why am I feeling like this? Start writing, and you might be surprised, because you might find yourself taken to a memory that you completely forgotten about. And it's about going back to that time and just being like, you know, you're safe, you're okay, yeah, hugs, etc. So just be aware that is, especially like I said, it's been felt a lot this week. So embrace your shadow. It is a part of you, yeah, and it's there to come to the surface, for light to be shined on it, for it to be healed, for it to be transmuted. And the more you do it, the more work you do on it, and the more awareness you have, the greater your understanding of yourself. Okay. So, as I said, if you do have any questions, do stick them in the comments below and I will try and answer them for you. Thank you for watching the video today on the shadow. If you want to see other videos, I do have a YouTube video with Leanne Juliet where we talk about doing shadow work. And you can also check out the spiritual journey, where I basically speak to others on their healing journey and how they are helping others through various healing modalities. So if you have liked this video, please do give it a like and subscribe and share, and I will see you in the next video.